Okay, we're talking now about part 2 of 6.6, and that's writing absolute inequalities. So I want to start off with just a quick little story. If you are running a marathon, so imagine you're running a marathon, and you're running with a partner, and your partner's a little bit faster than you are, okay? So I'm going to show you the route, and we're going to talk about how to find out the distance between you and your partner, okay? So I'm going to draw this marathon route. It looks like this. A little route through the woods or through downtown, through the river. And here's your partner. Your partner's a little faster than you are. Mile number 9. Okay? You are here, mile number 5, and we want to talk about what the distance is between you and your partner. To find that out, did you get it yet? It should be 4 miles. And how did we do that? What we did was we took the distance between. So we took 9 minus 5 and we got 4. Okay? Well, keep that in mind because this is what we're doing when we're writing absolute inequalities. We're finding the distance between one number and another number. So to find the distance between 2 points, you will subtract. Okay? So absolute value can be thought of as the distance between 2 points. And I'm going to show you some examples. Absolute value of -5. You can think of this, we can rewrite it to be the distance between -5 and 0. Okay, so you can translate that in words, distance between -5 and 0, and we know that that distance is 5 units. Okay, I'm going to write in 5 units. To make this clear that 5 units is always a positive value. Okay, you can't have -5 units. Okay. Similarly, you might have an example like absolute value of x is 7. I'm going to rewrite that again. X minus 0. Okay, there's a number there, you just don't see it. Let's stick it in. So the distance between x and 0 is 7. Okay, if you were to draw that on a number line, x could be a positive 7. Take a look. Positive 7 or negative 7. 7 steps to the right or 7 steps to the left. Okay, so let's take a look at another example. If you would read this, the distance between x and, in this case, 2 is less than 9. Okay? So I'm going to draw a picture of what this looks like. You have 2 in the center as your midpoint, and the distance between x and 2 will be 9 values, 9 units. So we're going to go 9 units to the right, 9 units to the left. Well, 2 plus 9 will give you 11. 2 plus a -9 will give you -7. So here, the values of x are, okay, I'm going to write, x is going to be less than 11, x is going to be greater than -7. If you actually wrote out 2 cases, you would solve and you would find this exact solution. Okay? So notice that whenever you see the less than symbol, it's going to be overlapping in the graph, and what that means is your answer has to be between these 2 points. Okay, it cannot be outside, it has to be between. Okay, so let's see what happens in a situation where you see a greater than symbol. This situation, this one's a little different. I rewrote it as x minus a -3, because remember we stated that the distance between, in order to find that, you have to subtract. So we want to make sure that this is a subtraction symbol. Since this is addition, I'm going to change it to a double negative. So this is the distance between x and -3. So the distance between x and -3 is greater than 4. Okay. So I'm going to graph that. Here's -3 in the midpoint. It's going to be 4 or more. It could be 4, could be 5, could be 6, could be anything to the right or greater than 1. Over here in the opposite direction, it has to be greater than or less than -7. So the graphs are pointing away from each other. Okay. If you were to write the solution set, you say x such that x is greater than 1 or x is less than -7. Okay. So there are a few steps to writing equations with absolute inequalities. Not equations, but inequalities. We have step 1, determine the midpoint. And if you can't tell by looking at the graph, what you can do is you can add the 2 points together and divide by 2. You have to figure out, is it going to be overlapping or are they going to be pointing away? Okay, if it's less than or equal to, they will be overlapping. If it's greater than or equal to, it will be pointing away. Step 3, you have to figure out if it's an open or closed circle. Step 4, you have to determine the distance from the midpoint. What is that distance? Okay, so for example, we'll do example 1 here. You have the graph of M, and M looks like it's an overlapping graph, but let's first determine the midpoint. Okay, so just really quickly, I'm going to take -15, I'm going to add it to 5 divided by 2. And that's -10 divided by 2 should be -5. Okay, so the midpoint should be here at -5. Well, here's 0, here's -10. That makes sense. I'm going to draw a line. That's my midpoint. Okay, so I also know that this is overlapping. So let's take a look at this. The midpoint equals -5. It is overlapping. So I know that I'm going to use the less than symbol, and also because it's an open circle. Okay, and now I need to determine the distance. From -5 to +5, that's 10. From -5 to -15, that's also 10. Okay, it's just 10 in the opposite direction. So when I write my equation, I have an absolute value using the less than. Distance is 10, and this is the distance between x and -5. Okay, x and -5. And the reason why I write plus is, remember we said the distance is x minus whatever the midpoint is. And this is just a simplified version. Okay, so that's one example. We can do a check, and to do a check you just go in reverse and you just solve for this equation. So we're going to apply what we used yesterday. Okay, so you have x is +5 is less than 10. I'm going to subtract 5, x is less than 5. Or in the negative case, you're going to have to divide by -1. So x plus 5, flipping the sign, is greater than a -10. You're going to subtract 5. So x will be greater than a -15. Okay, so double check that your solution matches the graph, and you're good. So this is here your equation. Okay, let's do another example. You can keep the notes up top here open if you need that. For example number 2, you have this picture right here. Okay, and again, let's go through all the steps. We need to find a midpoint. -2, I can't tell, so I'm going to add -2 and 6, and I'm going to divide it by 2. I'm going to get 4/2, which is 2. So the midpoint, right in the middle, would be 2. Okay, and what else do we know about this? We know that it's pointing away, so we have to use the greater than symbol. We know that it's a closed circle, so we have to use not this, but greater than or equal to. Okay, and now we just need the distance. Taking a look between 2 and 6, looks like distance 4. Between 2 and -2, that's 4 as well, the 4 in the negative direction. Okay, so let's craft our equation here. We are using this symbol. Distance is 4 steps, and x, distance between x and the midpoint, which is 2. Okay, there you go. Your assignment is to go to textbook page 332 and do numbers 19 through 22. Bring those to class tomorrow and we'll check your answers.